And welcome to Black Crow Gaming, and Happy New Year, everybody. By the time you get to watch this video, it will be 2026, and what a 2025 Black Crow Gaming has had. I am joined today with the rules lawyer himself, the legendary man, the giant of a human, the literal human space marine. It's Alan, guys. Say hello, Alan.
Hello. You said we're going to do this on Wednesday, and I'm like, when's Wednesday? Do days exist anymore? It's that time between Christmas and New Year where, like, is time even real?
It's time. Well, you know what? Funny you should say that, actually, because you definitely can tell it's the festive period. Because I've been going to the gym consistently, and I went this morning, and every time I've been going, like before Christmas, there was about 60, 70 people in there every day. When I went over this festive period, there's like 18 people in there in the morning.
Wow.
Now, I guarantee over the next few days, that's going to increase dramatically.
Yeah, as all the mince pies want to get
Absolutely.
burnt off.
But we're not here to talk about what we get up to in the gym. We are here to do a New Year tier review. And the reason I thought it'd be good to do a tier review, because New Year, new army. And maybe this tier review might lead you into your next army pick. Who knows? So I thought we would, give it a bit of a go. I've invited Alan on so that we could kind of talk about all of the different factions and rank them. This is our personal opinion. This is what we've encountered at events. It's what we encountered through general conversation on the Black Crow Gaming Discord or on the Black Crow Gaming WhatsApp. And if you want to be a part of Discord, go into the links below in our description section. If you like the videos that we're putting out at the minute, please make sure that you hit your like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss Alan's beautiful face. As you're kind of embarking on these new videos now, aren't you? You're not just doing the shorts, you're now doing full length
rules court.
Yeah.
Where myself and my brother sort of discuss rules that have changed and how they might change ongoing, because potentially we've got 11th edition coming this year, which will be interesting. We don't know whether it's going to be fresh new indexes. I doubt it. So it'll probably be continuation of the codexes. And we're just about to launch another one called Blight Ideas, which is a Death Guard focused one, because I think Death Guard are quite popular. And my brother's a Death Guard specialist, so...
I think for 2026, a few things we can guarantee is that there's going to be more content coming out of the Black Crow Gaming YouTube channel, more rules-orientated content, more faction-orientated. We've got, obviously, Dash doing the lore videos, and the first one was excellent, and if you haven't seen that, make sure you go check that out. And we're just going to, obviously, we've got Toby still doing his Dark Angels faction specialism. I'll be still continue to cover the Custodes and the Space Wolf journey. But we are going to be branching out and doing more videos. We're going to be having very soon our very own Mr. Bruce doing his hot takes on items that you can purchase out in the community. So he's going to be reviewing terrain, he's going to be reviewing cases, he's going to be reviewing painting goods, and that's all going to be coming onto the channel in 2026. We also have the Ragnar GTs, which I'm going to say this, I'm quite emotional about this, are doing extremely well. They are doing extremely well. We had a sold out December. We've got almost a sold out March. We've got 9 tickets left for March, Alan.
And I'm going to March. I'm going to be there.
You are.
See if I can win back my belt.
Well,
crown or whatever it is.
It's pretty big, and you need to keep an eye on the Facebook group, folks, for over the next sort of few days, because we should be hopefully announcing a huge update on the tournament scene coming in July. Hopefully, it will be our first major tournament that will be coming to the east of England. And we're looking at potentially a capacity of 90 players strong. And I can tell you that will be with the Hemel Hempstead Gamers. So shout out to the Hemel Hempstead Gamers and the guys from Redacted. Shout out to Redacted. We're all coming together to deliver a WTC terrain major at the end of July. So keep your eyes out for that. We're making sure there's some core values that we want to make sure that we keep when we do our events. One of those is making sure that the price point isn't overly high. because we want to make sure that this hobby is affordable. We want to make sure that people can actually get into tournaments and not feel like actually, they need to take out a second mortgage just to attend an event. So these are things that we're really passionate about.
No, I've not been involved in the discussions, but let me ask you some questions then.
Sure.
This is off the fly. So is there table space?
There will be table space. Everybody will be able to expect similar sort of level of table space to that of Ragnar. We won't be able to necessarily provide the side tables that you expect at Ragnar, but what we will be able to provide is adequate spacing,
car parking,
free car parking,
on-site
free car parking.
I'm excited. Food.
Yeah, so the lovely individuals from the cafe Longboats and Lattes that supply us at the Ragnar GT are going to be joining us at the major, which is looking at being Bury St Edmunds way. They're going to come all the way there to join us and cater for everyone. So you'll be able to get paninis, sandwiches, cold drinks, alcohol license bought, all available for you. Cakes, the most amazing cakes. So yeah, they're coming all the way to join us because they love hosting our events so much.
I'm very excited now. Very excited. That ticks all my boxes.
Like, that's basically what you want, isn't it? It's and also importantly as well, adequate toilets.
Yes, no, that is another box. You are absolutely right. That is another box that needs ticking.
So, but we will be announcing that hopefully very, very soon. We're just literally doing the final ticks and signing on the dotted line for a venue, and then once that's all confirmed, we'll be advertising that pretty majorly. But anyway, shall we get into the tier list review? I'm quite excited about this. It's been a while since we did one of these. This is Alan. This is your first one doing this.
My first one. It is.
So it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting. So the first one we're going to go into is Chaos Demons. Now you can see here on the bottom, all of these images are the codex art. I will tell you which one they are, but if you're a little bit unsure, go check the codex art for yourself.
So the Demons Codex.
This one is a historic image.
See, that's a bit of a sore point for some.
I've just
in Crows in particular, we've got some
8 minutes in, and I've just pissed off every demon player in the country.
Yeah. I hope they stay a faction. I really do. I think it's solid to see.
It'd be a travesty if they get rid of them.
It really would. I think seeing that horde of demons on the other side of the table is just something else. So yeah, I hope they stay. I think they've been periodically good and bad throughout the edition.
I think the chicken change has helped.
Massively. There's a big argument at the moment about what the enhancement does. Does it give full indirect? Does it only give indirect if you can see a different unit? I know WTC have ruled one way. UKTC have said we don't need to rule on it because it's obvious.
If it was obvious, would there even be a question about it?
So that's. I think it's only 10 points though, isn't it? So it does seem.
It is ridiculously cheap.
It does seem well cheap for 10 points. So I kind of see the argument that it doesn't work unless you have got a target.
I think they're really strong at the minute now.
I think that 3 damage
buff is it's given them some really potent shooting, and you see the chickens are quite cheap. The Lord of Change. I'm tempted to put them in A, personally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think definitely at least. Definitely an A. And the other thing is, there's some really strong demon players. We've got Jack in Crows. There's Byron. I think we're going to see demons do well.
Well, Jack at the Ragnar GT, like, he was so close to like coming on top and actually beating Harley, who won the GT. It came down to a dice roll of whether or not a Rhino survived, as to if it was draw or win or a loss. That's how close that game became, and the points in the end didn't reflect just how cinematic the ending of that game was. So I think demons definitely belong in the limelight.
100%. I think we'll see some really good success in demons over the next few months.
So the next one is Chaos Knights. Now, Knights have had a bit of a torrid time recently, but I definitely think they're better than their Imperial counterparts.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
I do not think that they are a C tier army, and I do not think they belong in A. I think they are probably a solid B, but bottom B.
Yeah, yeah. I think they struggle with that whole. Once they start to fold, they fold.
I
Once
agree.
once you kill a couple of big knights, the army disintegrates, or you deal with all the small knights. It's hard because they don't have an invuln in melee, although there's an enhancement, I think, isn't there, for the
Yeah,
big
but that's
ones.
not
You
enough
can
to
get
keep them alive, is it?
you can get your lancers with your invuln, and we've just had that massive. Actually, this is a good point. We've just had that massive nerf, haven't we, to the is it desecrators? I can't think what it's called. The double
Yes.
gatling.
Yeah. So
Um,
they've been put in the bin, thank God.
they're so expensive now. I'm tempted now because I think with that they were probably a B tier army. I don't know whether they've dropped because of that.
I don't think they're a C tier army because when you look at the other armies that are in C tier, they're probably better than those armies.
All right, I'll grudgingly say bottom of B.
I agree, bottom of B. Yeah. Now, Death Guard.
See, I still think Death Guard can do well. I think they got hit too hard. They were too good. And they got hit in too many places at once. But I think a good Death Guard player can still do well. We've seen some interesting lists come out. There's a Taliban summoner list where you can deep strike Roticus 6. You can rapid ingress Nurglings 6 inches.
I still think it's an A tier army, just based on its rules, regardless of points.
I think a good player can do really, really well with Death Guard. I think a bad player, it would be a B or C tier army, but if you've got a good player behind the wheel, I think they can do really, really well. And I'd agree. I think they will. A lot of people are putting them in B, I think.
Yeah, but I think they. Again, this is obviously situational. So, for example, the Art of War tier list was based on their experiences on GW terrain. We're talking about our experiences in the UK meta, and in the UK meta, you still see Death Guard being taken really widely. They still perform well, and I think they're still an A tier army. I think they absolutely still can achieve top placings at GTs.
And I think some of their predators have been hit as well.
Agreed.
Thousand Sons, Eldar.
Well, we're going to come on to Thousand Sons because I actually think that Thousand Sons are insane at the minute.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll get to that in a minute then, I guess.
Well, they're actually up next.
Oh, are they up next? So I hit Thousand Sons at the ITT, and of course it was a skew teams list.
Had the points drops come in by then?
No, actually, no. I think that was
because the Terminator build Thousand Sons is.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I hit 20 Terminators, and whilst my army could deal with them quite effectively, they dealt with me quite effectively too. Like on Overwatch, I think they killed like 3 Deathwing Knights or something. It was just insane.
They literally they're very mobile. They're very tough to crack. They get ridiculously high AP on their weapons.
AP 4 Stormbolters,
which is nuts.
Insane. And I think the thing with Thousand Sons is they can always flex. Like you've seen the goat build, you've seen the Vortex bit. You've seen all these. You've seen the Rubric Marines. Now we're looking at Terminators. So I think there's so much flex in Thousand Sons. Obviously, the Immortal Wound output can be quite good. I mean, I haven't played much into them, but every time I see a Thousand Sons opponent, I'm worried. So
look, the question is here. Look, so we look at where A. Bear in mind, we can change this at the end. Look at A now. They're better than Death Guard.
Yeah,
they're probably better than Demons.
I think they're a solid A. They're definitely not S.
I think there's only a couple armies that are S tier at the minute, and we're going to get into those. But I think that they are. There is one that, if there was another tier above S, would go above S.
Yeah, but I don't think they're as strong as they have been. I don't think they're quite the, the crazy thing they were like 6-8 months ago, before their first nerf. But yeah, I still think they're solid. I think they're solid.
I definitely think they're probably top of the A tier at the minute. Maybe even broaching into bottom S, but we'll see. That they are good. Next, we've got World Eaters.
See, I mean,
This is
was
a
it?
very pilot dependent World Eaters.
It is very pilot dependent. Obviously, Harley did really well at Ragnar. Sam, as we know, is just smashing world eaters.
Sam arguably could be. You could argue is the best World Eater player in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but I played world eaters so many times and just utterly crushed them because I think you're right. I think they're very pilot dependent. But I think when you're doing a tier review, you've got to assume a good pilot.
Mm. I think they're B, personally.
See, I think they're A. I think a good world eater player can beat anything.
I would agree. I would agree. But the bit that I am going to go against here is how many top tier World Eater players out there. Now, we can't. Yes, we can assume they have to be good, but we do also need to assume. We also need to look at the pool of players as well. So, I think the pool of players dilutes the army, and that's why
Okay.
I put them at B, because a bad World Eater, well, not a bad, like a normal an average World Eater player doesn't perform as highly as you might expect.
But I think you could say that about a lot of armies.
This
Death
is true. This is
Guards.
true. This is true. Well, I
Bad
mean,
Death
to be
Guard
fair
player
though,
will.
Death Guard at one point anybody could take Death
Oh yeah,
Guard
yeah, yeah.
MG 3-2-4-1. Like that was not a challenge for them. I
If they're a B, they're a top B.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm happy to put them there, but we may flex into A. We'll see where we end up. Now, CSM is an interesting one because CSM just seemed to be able to flex into so many builds and do so many different things. And Liam VSL was a really good advocate for them, but he obviously didn't think they were good enough because he switched off them. We
see,
still
see, see, it's a weird one because you look at Liam's list, and on paper it looks utterly rubbish. Like if I picked up that list, I'd probably go 1-4 at a tournament or something. But
he just
Liam's
did.
Liam's just such an outlier. Um, I think when have CSM ever done well as a whole? Apart from Liam, when have CSM won anything recently? I can't remember seeing.
They're in between. They're better than Knights, but not. They're in B. They're not C tier, but they're in B.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I think that they've got some stuff in there, but I think it's one of those ones where unless you're a real outlier player, you're gonna struggle with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're looking at what is an average army, if we're calling B tier kind of average plus maybe, like you say, there's a lot of data sheets in there. They've got almost as many detachments as Space Marines.
There's a lot of flexibility. They can flex to a lot of different builds. But I'd say B. They're a solid B. Like they're an army that will get you consistent results at a tournament at a decent level and potentially push you into some of the higher brackets if you get the correct run. So they've got the rules to be able to flex in multiple different ways. And I think if we focus on a tier review and we look at the rules of an army, all the armies we got have all got rules that allow them to be in these positions, right? I think
Yeah, makes sense.
we're coming into some armies soon that are going to place lower, but that's simply because of their flexibility of builds. Now, you might disagree with me here, but I think we're coming to one of the S tier armies in Sisters.
No, I think Sisters are definitely S tier. I think they were S tier for a long while. Then they got nerfed to absolute hell in every direction and probably dropped down to a C or D tier. And they've slowly been getting their rules back. And I think the thing with Sisters is there are so many builds. Like now we've got the Sanctifiers. You see 2-3 units of Sanctifiers in most lists, but we used to see the Zephyrim or
Yeah.
Sephirim, the ones with the flying with the two flame pistols.
That's correct, yeah.
We don't even see them anymore, probably because of Sanctifiers, but they're still really strong. So there are still a lot of units that people aren't bothering to use because there are even better units, and that tells me that it's that it is pretty broken. Obviously, Morven Val. I think she went up recently.
That unit is
Um,
400 points, but you auto include that unit every single time. But could
I
you imagine the builds if they didn't include that unit? Like how much stuff they would have. But Morgan Val is like
she's
full
insane.
rerolls to hit, full
I've had
rerolls
her
to wound.
kill 1,1400 points of my army on her own. You know, she can just be insane.
Yeah, with access to AOC, like they're very strong with the miracle dice as well. You just
and they can go into anything. They can go into anything. They've just got a tool for the job. They trade really, really well. They move really, really fast. They shoot really well. They melee.
they've probably got arguably one of the best indirect pieces in the game as well. Like if we get into an indirect meta again, like they're there. They've got their cascades, which are really good. They've got all the melter spam that they can
And
do.
the thing with the melter spam is like the problem with the melters is right. They're strength 9, so you go against anti-tank and you're like, okay, well I'm AP 4, but I've got a roll of 5 to wound. Doesn't matter because you just go, all right, there's a 5.
There's a
You know?
5, but then they can get +1 to they can get +1 to hit, +1 to wound though, can't they?
With Morven, I think there might be a strat as well in Bringers of Flame. Bringers of Flame is +1 strength, isn't it? So they're strength 10. So they are insane.
They're tech to the 9s, and I think that they are they have the utility to win events.
Yeah, and I think had we having this conversation 3 months ago or before the other data slate, we'd probably be having a different conversation. But now I think they're back at the top again.
Going into the last 6 months of the meta, before we possibly get 11th, I think that they are definitely sitting pretty. The next army we're going to talk about is Adeptus Custodes. Now, obviously, I'm going
to bow to your knowledge on this one.
So, Adeptus Custodes, they're not B tier, they're not A tier, and they're not S tier. They are probably top of C at the minute. And
really?
The reason I'm saying that is because everybody knows what they do.
Your recent changes, though, your recent horde kind of.
Again, though, it's a case of at some point I'm going to stand on objectives. Then the question will be, can you kill enough of me to get rid of me? Now, you've got to remember, for 150 points, we get 4 guys. Yes, horde, 6 units of them, great. But they are still 3 wound guys or 4 wound guys. And they don't have the tech like other armies have. Now, you've seen people potentially looking at Land Raiders, spam with them, and that gives them access to some, mobility. Which I ran a Land Raider in the last event. I've been saying this for a while. Land Raiders were good in Custodes. But when was the last time you saw a Custode player or a Custode army finish at the top of a GT? When was the last time you saw a Custode army finish at the top of a Super Major?
But have people got the lists and the reps into like the new builds yet to sort of?
Okay, look, put it this way. If you come across somebody who just put down 6 units of Custodian Guard, a couple Land Raiders, and a few Spices of Sisters, you're probably going to sit there and think, actually, I probably have the tech to be able to kill this. Because as soon as you get it's not hard to get rid of 1 unit of Adeptus Custodians, because they're only toughness 6 bodies still. And we had this conversation, and toughness 6 only is relevant when we're saving on 2+ or 3+. But most armies nowadays can force us to our 4+, which means 50% of the time we're taking wound. Now, if we look at that 1,000 Sun build, where all their weapons are AP4 and they can put out an absolute metric shed ton, they could kill 2-3 units of Custodian Guard in 1 turn with ease because of the mortal wound damage. So,
well, like I say, this is your baby, so I'm gonna bow to your knowledge.
Yeah, I just think we're not so we're not quite tech to how we are. We're definitely not a B tier army. I think we are top of C with the flex to be able to beat some of these B and maybe some of the A tier. But but the game is very difficult to hire, like the obviously the different armies we go into. It's not they're not quite there anymore.
I think one of the advantages you have is they are quite rare to see. You don't see many. So, for example, I came up against them at the ITT against the Lion's Blade, and it was hidden supplies, so obviously a lot of objectives spread out. And I made the stupid mistake of spreading out, which is, of course, exactly what Lion's Blade want you to do.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, it was one of those things where you didn't have time to really think about the game because, there were pairings being done and blah, 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 blah. But like with a few more reps into that list, absolutely, I would have castled up and be able to beat it. So I think it's one of those things where you've got the advantage of not being something that people play that often.
Yeah, and that to an extent is true. And also, if they don't play it, they tend to overcommit or undercommit. So you do have those advantages, but that's where the top table issue comes in.
Based on the rules, okay, we'll go for C.
Yeah, they're just not there. Admech are A tier. They are obscene. They're not S tier anymore because they've had a bit of a nerfing, but I still think they're bloomin' good.
I've thankfully managed to avoid playing them.
That is the benefit of
recently.
Is that they cost a mortgage to buy because you basically commit to a lifestyle when you buy Admech. Like that's it. That's the army you're buying for the next sort of 5 years to be able to get 2,000 points on the table. They are very good, and they've just had rules and rules and rules and rules just dumped on top of them, which has just made them, because their book, like Adeptus Custodes' book, was garbage, absolutely garbage. But the buffs they've received post have made them ridiculous. Hence why they won the Warhammer World Championships.
They did. They've been nerfed since then, and I think at that point they probably were S tier. But I think you're right. I think they're probably down to A. But I don't want to face them.
No, neither do I. This is the easiest option we've got. We've got poor Imperial agents that have been forgotten and fucked off to the wind and left in D tier.
Yeah, and I know this is going to be controversial. We're going to get banned now. We're going to get cancelled. But I genuinely don't think that Games Workshop released them as a competitive army. I think they released them as a playable army. But I think often we forget that us competitive players are not the only customers. We are not the only people that play this game.
This is very true.
There are lots and lots of people. In fact, we're just the tip of the iceberg, really. There are lots of players that you don't see who are playing this game. And there are people out there that love their Imperial Agent army and having lots and lots of fun with it, playing against their mates at the local club or whatever. And it's absolutely fine. And we've all got detachments in our codexes that are very fluffy and aren't very good competitively. But I'm sure there are people out there that love to play because it's fluffy and fun. And I think that's probably what Games Workshop think. I don't think they want it to be a competitive army. I think they just want it to be a rule set that people can play.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but that seems to be the fact that they've given it no love whatsoever. Just tells me that they are not really balancing the game for that army, and they're just going, do you know what? Here it is. If you want to play with it with your mates, go for it. But if you want to take it to a tournament, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, I think they will exist in 11th, but I don't think they'll get a codex. What I think there'll be a supplement. I don't even think that I don't think they should even waste the time with as a codex. They should do it as a codex supplement style, like almost, how you get here's your rules for your add-ons, here's the rules to take some of the units, but I don't see them being an army existing in 11th.
No, but it's nice to all in one place. Like I mean, I've got an Imperial Agents army that I play for casual fun, and I like occasionally putting the units in my lists. Occasionally they can be useful or competitive. Sanctifiers I'm looking at the moment, whether or not they're fit into a Marines list, for example. People use sisters in the past, etc. And I think it's nice to be able to have them in one place where you can refer to them and put them in. But then at the same time, I play Chaos Space Marines. But if I want to put Rubric Marines into my list, they want me to buy the Thousand Suns Codex.
Yeah.
If if I put Noise Marines, I'm expected to buy the Emperor's Children Codex. If I want to ally in Knights, I'm expected to buy a whole Knights Codex. So I like the fact that this exists, so I can slot it in. But I think there needs to be some sort of ally thing. I mean, Games Workshop are going to charge you for it, of course they are. But where I can pay and just get access to all my allies. You know, so I can get my stats for my knights if I want to ally them in without having to buy a codex.
I do. I know what you mean. They haven't had any love, and that's why they're just going to live in D tier for forever, I think. Shall we move on to Astra Militarum or Imperial Guard? Now they got a nice new detachment, and there was a bit of hype about the detachment. The initial weekend of GTs that went on, I haven't seen it perform very well. Like, in general, I've not seen... I think the new detachment is quite good, but I definitely think it needs a lot of figuring out, and I haven't seen it being run, and I wonder if that's because the A-tier armies and S-tier armies are so good that it's still pushing the Astra Militarum down. I think they are maybe middle of B, if anything.
Yeah, I think you know, we had when we had the 3-inch deep strike thing they had at
Yeah, the Carsican bomb, yeah,
they were just absolutely insane.
Yeah, that was obnoxious. You wanted just flamers just to deal with that bomb as it came down, and you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna try and flamer and get rid of some of the deadliness of the unit.
Or like running like multiple infiltrator units in Space Marines just to kind of make these big sort of 12-inch bubbles where they couldn't come down. You know, you had to so tech into them. I think Guard are always solid. I think there'll be players out there who can do really well with them. You know, whether you do mixed arms, a bunch of tanks at the back, lots of infantry to screen, score. You know, you can make your infantry insanely tough to deal with. You know, give them 3-up saves. They can hit on 2s. You know, they can be better than Space Marines. They can be absolutely insane. But I think you're right. I think there's a lot out there that can deal with them now. I'd be tempted, because they can be really good, to put them toward the top of B tier. Because I think, you know, you get some really good players out there, they can do really, really well with them.
I think they're top half of B. I think they're top half. But I don't know. I don't think they're better than World Eaters, and I don't think they're better than CSM currently. But they're 100% better than the other armies that are going to be coming into B tier. Like, for example, Grey Knights.
Yeah, so Grey Knights is a funny one, because Grey Knights, I think, can be very, very good. I mean, obviously, Brent's just done really well with them.
Yeah, exactly. Go catch out that video to hear about his undefeated run at Hive City.
Into the right armies, they can be really good. I think their main issue is anti-armor. They do struggle with that if they haven't got... I think you have to have the sort of baby carriers to be able to deal with armor.
That's correct.
They're really good into infantry, but you know, all the uppy downy stuff, I just don't know. And the 2-up saves everywhere, 2-up save on normal Marines.
Yeah, I mean, so Ed Watts took like infantry spam build at teams, didn't he? And he did really well with that. He went 5-0, but I think they are a good skew army in teams. I think in singles they're definitely a B tier army.
I was going to say, I was wondering whether you were thinking about putting them in the C, but I think they're solid. I think they can do well, and you know,
I think they're here above Chaos Knights, behind Astra Militarum.
Yep,
I think that's a fair. Now we're on to Imperial Knights. Now I think Imperial Knights are C tier,
100%,
and I think they're behind Adeptus Custodes. I think they're there.
Yeah, I think sadly.
And you know what? Actually, on reflection, I might bring Chaos Knights down to C as well, but above Adeptus Custodes.
That's what I was saying earlier. I think when they had the Decimator build, they were probably top B, bottom A.
I mean, look, Chaos, like Imperial Knights have got a good codex, but they got that codex was so good that it got nerfed before it could even do the damage, because it was identified that their movement was obscene, right? and they could do some obscene things. So they got nerfed into the ground, nerfed again, and now they just kind of exist.
And I think the lower toughness, more wound thing actually quite hurt them, because there are so many things now that can wound them better. That break point exists.
Yeah, you're just literally like, oh, okay. So what, the baby knights are toughness 9 now, aren't they?
And there's so many things you can get up to toughness 10.
Yeah, and
up to strength 10. Sorry.
And then all of a sudden, they're at +1 to wound, so they'll be strength 10 and +1 to wound, and then you're wounding them on 2s, and then in combat as well. Then they're like, oh, okay, actually you've got no save now.
Got no save at all.
Yeah, I actually think I'm gonna have a little bit of a reshuffle. I actually think Adeptus Custodes sit above both of those, because I don't see a world where Adeptus Custodes struggles into either of those.
Whilst that's true, there's always a bit of rock paper scissors though, right? There's always some armies that are gonna be able to, like, I think Knights, Chaos and Imperial are one of those lists that some armies will just absolutely crush. Like when I play my Dark Angel's Wrath, I just walk all over Knights, but that doesn't by itself mean they're better.
No.
You know, it could mean that they're better into something else and something else is better into me. So there's this circle that does exist. But yeah, I think Knights have been done dirty, really.
I agree. Next, we're on to the Black Templar. Now, Black Templars, they were the Repex build, which was pretty good, and it's still quite good. They don't have Oath of Moments, but they kind of just get rerolls everywhere anyway, through these Repexes and having characters in all their units. So,
did they get nerfed in the last?
So they went up a few points. So they did go up a few points, and that did impact them. But I still think they're B tier, and I think they're probably above Grey Knights, but again below those sort of top 3 that we have there.
See, I think on paper, people were saying how amazing they were. Now, I've not played the double Repex build. I've not played them since they got their glow up.
I played Corbin with them, and it was the fact that they were quite cheap, so they had a lot of units, and they dealt insane damage.
But they're still marine bodies, right? And that's the big...
It's the trade that they can do. So every unit they had did a lot of damage. It wasn't like they've got an army. They've not got a unit that would fluff, because you just put characters and everything, and then they get rerolls everywhere, and they've got access to fights first, and they have fight on death. You know, they've got some. I think they have fight on death. Sorry, or fights first. They definitely have.
So what stops them being A?
So what stops them being A is that I think that their big blob units are probably now probably too expensive to be in the A section. So those armies at the top there deal with Black Templars quite well, in my opinion, because you know, you get rid of the repulsor executioners, then all of a sudden they've lost their kind of like their output for shooting, and then they then get caught by some of the other units that can then shoot their, because bear in mind they are a combat focused army, and I don't think they beat World Eaters. So, and there's a reason why you're not seeing them everywhere, right?
Yeah, I must admit, when they came out and people were raving about them, I was expecting to see them everywhere, and I was expecting them to be pulling home the results, and they never seemed to. And then they got the nerf, so
I think they sit there. The next army we're going to talk about is Blood Angels, and I think they are straight up here.
Do you think they're S? Interesting.
I think they are nuts.
I think they're very, very good. They hit very, very hard. They're very, very fast. But they're still marine bodies. Saying that, you can say, you know, well, you can say that about World Eaters.
And they've got fight on death. And they've got, Feel No Pain as well for your Death Company.
They've got Death Company with Feel No Pain. They've got a lot of nice rules. They get loads of extra attacks now with the new detachment.
Yeah.
You can battle shock them, but have like an ancient in there to keep them having OC. So there's all sorts of tricks you can play with them.
I think they're so good. Like,
really?
Yeah. You think all?
I definitely would have put them as a solid A.
I definitely feel like they are an S tier build. Look at all these players we know that are now flinging themselves over the Blood Angels.
Have they had the results though? Have we seen anything in the last few weeks?
I don't think we've had the GTs to really judge it yet too much. That's one thing I will say, which is why I was tentative about Astra Militarum. But from what I've seen at the Ragnar, very, very strong.
Okay.
See,
I'd be tempted by top A, but if you think they're S, I'll.
But then I suppose, do I think they're better than the Thousand Suns build? That's a good point. No, I think they are. I think they're insane. They're so fast. They're so strong. They're quite cheap.
The thing is, they're not as cheap as Sisters, who are obviously A tier. I don't know how well they trade into, say, Sisters. I mean, obviously they've got the jump packs. They can bypass screens and whatnot.
They're just so they're actually really surprisingly durable as well. Like,
yeah, feel no pains really throw out the maths when you're hitting them, but they're still toughness 4 3-up saves.
I mean, we could say that about Space Marines, but Space Marines are 100% S tier as well. Vanilla Marines, that is.
Yeah.
So we talk about Dark Angels. I'm going to let you lead this one.
Yes, this is my obviously my chosen faction. Yeah, I'm gonna say that we're A tier at the minute. Still, I think we've got a lot of flex.
Whereabouts?
I think potentially we're now above Death Guard. I can't really say who's next.
Chaos Demons, Admech, Thousand Suns.
Yeah, I think that's probably right where we are. I think the thing with Dark Angels is we were one of the first codexes, and it was utter rubbish. But we've had so many more changes since then. Pretty much every unit has had a glow up in some way. The Lion in particular has been really good. We've got a great detachment with Wrath, but we can still use Gladius. We can still use Stormlance. Even Company of Hunters have started doing really well, particularly in America, but also over here as well. I think there are so many different builds you can make with Dark Angels. You know, it's not just about the Deathwing Knights. You can do so much with them. But I love Wrath. -1 to wound across basically your whole army is such a drug. You know, these massive guns wounding your scouts on 3s. You know, just hilarious. I think they're strong. I don't think there's anything they can't beat, but equally, there's nothing that they auto beat apart from maybe Knights. You know, they've got weaknesses. There are things that can definitely deal with them. But I think in the hands of a strong player, I mean, the results, they've had loads of 5-0s, 4-1s recently. They're constantly up at the top of the tournaments. Not necessarily super majors, but certainly GTs, they're always sort of podiuming. So I'd definitely put them as a solid A.
Good choice. So we move on to Deathwatch. Now, Deathwatch have had a little bit of a glow up. There was obviously a lot of drama surrounding Deathwatch. They have all of a sudden been doing well in certain circles. I think they are probably a B tier army, but I think they're probably bottom of B tier.
I've not played them, I don't think, since the start of the edition.
I played them and got railed by them. But the people who are running them with success.
Yeah, they've changed so much because obviously they got deleted and then re-added.
Yeah,
again, another army without a codex.
And it's a really cool army as well. Like, it is
massively cool, massively cool. If I didn't have 4 Space Marine chapters already, I'd win a Deathwatch.
Yeah, you'd go Deathwatch. Now the next one we've got is something that's quite close to both of our hearts. It's the Space Wolves.
Yeah, I like my Space Wolves. I'm
unsure where they belong at the minute.
They've had some real nice points adjustments. We've seen them do well at Leicester with
That's
the
right.
Wolf Jail.
With I can't remember what his last name is, but he did very well. Yes,
Muddy,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I actually watched a couple of his games on the stream. So,
and he ran them in Stormlance, didn't he? So
he ran them in Stormlance. But I think some of the detachments are quite good. I think the new detachment is quite good.
Yeah,
Dreadnoughts bursting through walls and things.
I like
And
the idea of all of the spicy Terminators in there, and I think it's definitely an army that needs more investigating before we find what the best build is for it. Head takers, as we know, are really strong.
Terminators as well.
The
Yeah.
Wolf Terminators are fantastic. I think they're middle B personally.
Yeah, I think they probably are. I think it's still early days, but they've got a lot. You know, they've got the name dreadnoughts. They've got the vulnerable dreadnoughts with the +1 to advance and charge.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of tech, but sometimes I sit there and I think, is that the only thing you include it in there for? And it probably is, and it's got a bit of a commitment. The Wolf Scouts are really cool.
Oh my god! Again, the chap at Leicester ran 2 units of Wolf Scouts, and like you're watching them on stream, and the opponent's face going, "They do what now?"
They just do everything. They've got so much. I want another box of them so I can have 2 units of 5. Did he run them as?
Own any yet.
Did he have them as units of 10 or as units of 5?
6, I think, wasn't it? Because of the
yeah, with the dog, but the dog that can throw a grenade.
You ran 2 units of 6, yeah, and it was literally it was scout forward, dog goes 10, throws a grenade. Hilarious. And of course also shortens the charge distance for the unit as well.
And they're not terrible in combat either.
They're pretty good in combat. Like, is it +1 to wound if there's no one else near?
That's right. Yeah. No. So you got to catch a unit on its own, which can be quite tough. But
when you're taking out enemy infiltrators, for example, or enemy scouts.
Oh yeah. Like if you want to go take on the natural expansion of your opponent early, that's the unit you go and do it.
He was using them to hit like dreadnoughts, and like it wasn't quite killing them, but he was taking them down.
Oh, so that's what I would use them for, is to go in and so like the math sometimes swings in your favour, and the amount of mortal wounds you can do because of the haywire mine and so on. So you can kill a dreadnought. So they are good. I think definitely middle of B. Let's move on to Space Marines. The Victrix Guard Space Marine. Space Marines are top of S.
Yeah, I think
I'm so sick of them. But they can just flex. Ever since they got that +1 to wound, they have been obnoxious builds for them constantly. Whether it was the flyer build, whether it was the speeder build, now it's the Victrix Guard, then it was the Calgar unit. It is constant. There is constant, just high damage, high resilience.
See, they never seem to know what to do with Space Marines because they have been so rubbish
in the past.
In the past, in 9th, for example, at one point they gave permanent AOC.
Yeah, I remember that. That was again
because they were so rubbish. I think the other thing with Space Marines is that practically every army's guns are designed to kill Space Marines. It's like they've got the perfect profile. I think the change now is Victrix, as you say, having that weird profile.
I mean, they keep talking. If they get nerfed, then they probably go down a tier. But at the minute, they are probably.
They can go down a couple of tiers. I think you're right. I think deciding randomly to give them +1 to wound, but not giving it to Dark Angel. I mean, obviously we saw the Bloodless Angel build for a while when that was legal, and how strong that was.
Yeah, how fun that was to play against.
So. Yeah, it's an odd one. They're definitely up there now. But I think
that's our free.
Workshop make a small change, like they take away the +1 to wound, for example, and suddenly they just drop away.
They do. I think they're our free S tier armies. I don't see like the other armies we'll talk about. I'm not sure they're up there. One of them was S tier for a long time, and that is Eldari.
I was just about to say Eldari. Although I never had trouble with Eldari, funny enough, with my list, but I know they were an issue for a lot of lists.
Well, it's now the Wind Rider build, which I called on the data slate review with Louis. That's now doing very well. They have been so good for so long. They just flip between S and A tier,
and they've got so many units that they can move into. Obviously, like Space Marines have more, but like. When's the last time you saw an Avatar of Cain? But for a long while, the Avatar of Cain was just ruining people's days.
Do we think they're top of B tier? Or do you think they're still A?
I don't know. I looked at the nerfs to the rules and the points because again they got a double
They
whammy,
got a double slammed. Yeah.
and straight away I thought, right, they're straight down into B tier. But a lot of people I know that are more savvy than me in terms of how Eldar play think there's still a lot of play in them and think they're still very much A tier. So I think I would bow to people that know more than me.
If we put them in A tier, they.
I think they're probably bottom of A tier at the minute because I think we need to. I think people need to figure out what works for them because the other thing is a lot of people were teching to deal with Eldar because they were such a problem. Now, if they're teching for Marines, Blood Angels, Sisters, I mean Sisters potentially similar. Are you taking into Eldar anymore? You know, are you going to be taking like what was Eldar's natural hunter indirect, right?
Yeah.
You know, are people going to be taking so much indirect to do with Blood Angels and Space Marines?
Not necessarily.
Sisters. So I think that alone can help Eldar.
They're a glass cannon now. They're so fast and they hit so hard.
But the whole not being able to sort of jump out of transports, jump back in again all the time, and things like that. It's that was huge to their survivability. Yeah, I think if taken in a vacuum, I'd stick them in a B. But I think with what people are telling me, people that play Eldar know what they're talking about, and can see things that maybe me and you can't see as non-Eldar players. I think they're probably still up there.
I agree. The next one's Drukari. And I think Drukari are a solid B tier army, and I think they've been a solid B tier army for a long time. I think they're above the Space Marine armies that we have in there, but I don't think they're above World Eaters or Astra Militarum or CSM.
I think Drukari can do very, very well, and they can do very, very badly.
Yeah,
which was almost a definition of a B tier army, right?
Yeah, agreed. It's one of those. If you don't know what they do, you're in trouble. If you know what they do, you can kind of play around them. Don't get me wrong, the haywire stuff has been a nightmare forever, which is why it does quite well in certain builds. But then they are also T3 bodies.
And they took quite a nerf as well. They lost some of their best units, the Beastmaster, and
they did. They literally had units deleted and then they got nerfed.
Yeah.
So I think middling B. I think the next one is a hard one because it's Gene Stealer cults. Now, Gene Stealer cult, the pool of Gene Stealer cult players is really small.
And they're all really good.
And they're all really good. But I think based on that, I think they are, again, a B tier army.
Yeah, again, I think they can either do really, really badly or really, really well. Because you don't know what you're doing with Gene Stealer. I mean, I played into Gene Stealer cults at the weekend and absolutely annihilated them. But, like, if you don't know what you're doing into them, they can just be everywhere doing everything, and they hit really hard, and they can be tougher to pick up than you think. And then, suddenly they're regenerating models, and then they're regenerating units, and they're coming down all over the place. I think they can be really, really good. The rules are decent. I don't think they're an A tier army.
No. Yeah, I agree. Do you think so? The next army we've got is Votan. Now, again, Votan's one of those armies where you don't see that many players, but the players that have them tend to do quite well. They've got some good flexible builds. I think again they're a B tier army. I think they're probably towards the upper end of B tier.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we've seen Paul do really well with his Berserker build.
Yeah.
But then he sort of flexed away from that because I think it was potentially a little bit too one-dimensional. Perhaps it had its, it did have its weaknesses. A few other builds started popping around. Those new robots are quite nasty.
Oh, the ones with they get 6 shots each, and they've got you're on about the shooting ones. So they've got they get 6 shots each, and they're dev wounds, and you can take up to units of 6, I think. And so that's like 36 shots with dev.
I think again, it's an army you're not going to hit all the time. And again, throughout the edition, we had the 6 Sagittarius build. We've had all sorts of different things. I think they're solid. I think they're getting close to an A build, if I'm honest.
Would you put them above Astra Militarum,
Yeah, I think so.
but above CSM?
Yeah, definitely.
I think they're behind World Eaters.
Yeah, yeah.
So the next build we've got is Necrons. Now, Necrons are another army that have flipped between S and A at times, but I don't think they're an A tier army.
I'm going to potentially be controversial here. I don't think they're a B tier army anymore.
Do you think they're C tier?
When have Necrons done well recently?
I don't think they're C tier. Well, I think they're, because if you look at what's at the bottom of B.
I can't remember the last time I saw Necrons doing well at a tournament. I think the Silent King came back recently. I've seen him around quite a lot.
They literally got no changes in the last data slate either.
I mean,
can I be?
We can't have everything in B, can we?
Can we put them bottom of B?
Yeah. What's very bottom of B? I can't quite see.
Death Watch and Grey Knights.
I think they're better than Death Watch, aren't they? And sorry, worse than than Death Watch, worse than Grey Knights. I think just in terms of their flexibility. I think the problem is they just don't do anything that well anymore. When they had like the strong Catan builds, the strong Silent King builds, they were fearsome. What do they do now apart from stay alive quite a lot?
Yeah, they stay alive, hold points, and potentially score. Okay.
I mean, the Wraith build. People know how to do with Wraith blocks now, and they're quite expensive.
Well, you just precision out the character. That's basically what
you do if you can. Obviously, a good player will hide the character, but yeah, I don't know if bottom of C, bottom of B, top of C.
Next one we got is Orks.
Oh God! See, having said I don't want to put everything in B. I think Orks can be really, really good.
Bear in mind, B is like our 50%, 51 to 48% range, right?
I think Orks, now they've had a bit of a glow up with Gaz being able to join different units.
I think they're better than the Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Are they better than Drukari? And Gene Stealer Colts?
The way I look at it is, what would I rather face? I think I'd rather face Orks than Drukari or Gene Stealer Cults.
Okay. I could see that point. The Warhorde build is still really strong, isn't it?
It is really strong. It is strong, but it's got its weaknesses. At the end of the day, unless they're warring, they've got T-shirts.
They do have T-shirts, but they just have They have an awful lot of bodies, and if you don't have the tools to deal with a lot of bodies, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
The next one is Tau. Now, Tau are in a weird place because they've got builds that are wild if they get the right matchups. It's the main one is Monkar, and I don't think Monkar get any rules until like turn 3. So
no, Monkar get rules from turn 1.
Oh, turn 1 now, is it? Have they had a change?
No. You're thinking of Cao Young, which is from turn 3.
Right.
So the Monkar build is Ghost Kills, Riptides, tons of Pathfinders, Breachers, some crew, and they just flood the board. They come into your deployment zone turn 1. They jail you. They shoot the shit out of everything. You try and come out to deal with them. You hit the screens. They shoot the shit out of you again. The thing is, they want to go first because they want to get into deployment zone before you can hide or before you can stage. I would put them very solidly in A. I think they're very strong.
But I don't think they're above Eldari. Do you think they're above Eldari? And Death Guard?
I know what I'd rather face. I'd rather face Eldari than Tau. But maybe that's a me thing. I don't know. I think you're right in a way in that they, if they get the wrong terrain or the wrong matchup or they go second or you can hit them, they can struggle. But I think in the right hands, Tau are very, very strong. I think they've got all the rules to deal with everything they need to deal with. It's the Riptide buff recently. Yeah, I think they're in a good place.
So the next one we're going to go for is Tyrannids. Now, I think Tyrannids are probably one of the most B-tier armies out there. I don't think they're breaking the world with A. I think they're very. I think they're a solid army, but I don't think they're ridiculous.
See, I lost the Tyrannids at Leicester, but I think that was probably because I haven't played them that often, and the reps into them because people don't play them that much, and it was a detachment and units I wasn't used to playing into, which gives them some strength. But again, when have Tyrannids done well recently?
I think they're a B army. I don't think they're a C army by any
You
stretch.
don't think?
No, no. I've played Tyranids enough. They have some good builds. They can get some good results. They're solid into right armies as well. I think they are just a solid B tier build.
Okay.
I think they're literally in the middle, like straight in the middle, around Orks sort of area.
See, I'd be considering putting him in C. So if I was putting him in B, I'd be the bottom of B. I just don't think. I think they're a bit like Necrons. Like what do they really have these days? What do they bring? What are they good into?
They do deal damage. They deal quite a lot of damage. They've got those nice Vanguard builds. The monsters are still strong. You know, they're able to, like, what is it, pop up in and out, like they can uppy downy basically.
But they don't have tank shock. They don't have grenade. So the mortal wound output is basically zero.
You're right there.
They've got very little anti-tank outside of lethals.
The Gene Stealers do absolutely wreck face when they hit.
They've got death wounds, but well, if they're being led by.
I just think that they've got, and also their general army rule of being able to cause like an army-wide battle shock is pretty nice. I think
it is, and again, the game that I lost, that kicked off, and I failed on my battle shocks, so that was massive. But that's such a random thing. It can either really work or does nothing. Rob and I talk about battle shock in the video.
I just think they're just one of those armies that I don't think will ever be a C tier army because they have got rules. They have got rules that are usable.
See, for me, they're one of those armies that, and again, it's hubris for me because when I went into that list, I thought, oh great, it's Tyrannids, because I was expecting to face pre-nerf Eldar or Tau or
But
Victrix.
do you not think that's why it makes them a B tier army though? The fact that you were able to underestimate them slightly and you ended up taking a loss from them.
Yeah. Maybe, but maybe again, it's.
And bear in mind, it might be pilot driven. Don't get me wrong, but I've never faced Tyrannids and sat there and thought this is a straightforward game because they've got tricks that they can do to score points. You know, they've got that little guy on the backfield objective that does the indirect shooting that just literally is just putting little mines down that stops you being able to advance.
Yeah,
you know,
pain in the bum those mines. Yeah, and of course you can score secondaries with them and everything else.
Yeah.
Let's put them bottom of B then. Let's compromise. Let's stick them with Necrons. You want to put them above Necrons, don't you?
I think this is what I want to do, really, because that feels better for me.
Okay.
I think that's fairer.
Who's left? Who have we got?
We have got, last but certainly not least, Emperor's Children.
Children, yeah.
This is such a hard army to place because I just.
Did their demon princes go up recently?
They got the best demon princes in the game still. Fulgrim can now get around.
Yeah, but Fulgrim got a buff. Demon princes got a nerf. Their sword guys got a glow up, didn't they? With an extra attack.
Do they belong in here? B tier.
I mean, they're definitely not C tier.
No.
And I guess they're definitely not A tier, so I guess they must be B. But where they belong in B, I think I think it's still a bit fresh, isn't it? Following the data slate as
Yeah.
to how
Let's go.
much that's impacted them.
Let's be safe. Put them towards the lower end. I mean, I think we've got a good solid base for our A tiers. I think our A tier is all probably about right. The only one that people might disagree with us on is Eldari and Tau, maybe. But and then
Yeah, so Eldari, I just don't know enough about how the nerfs affected them. Tau, I'm quite convinced Tau are strong. I mean, you saw some of the things. I mean, I went to a tournament and saw Luke Townsend pick up something like 1,300 points of his opponent turn one. You
well,
know,
because
any
with the Tau build,
with a
because
Tau,
he's
with a
always been
modern
a Tau
car.
player. Yeah.
He's always been a Tau player. Um, a list that can do that has to be an A tier list, surely. Surely you can't argue it's B tier.
No. Yeah. Fair. I mean, uh, World Eaters. I think actually we're quite on the money with a lot of them. I think they'll be obviously the thing about tier review is that this is our opinion. This is why you get people on to talk about it and to have these different points of view. And it'll be interesting to see what comments we get about this, if they agree with us or disagree with us. Some people could be quite passionate about tier review.
It's true, and also, like I say, I mean, I'm sat here dissing Tyrannids, and I lost to them. So I think just because you don't rate the army doesn't mean that a good player
Can't do well with them.
can't do really well with
You
them.
know,
And
like
also
the last time I took Custodes out, right? Okay, fourth at the Ragnar. So, and I beat Sisters. I beat all these like top tier armies. But again, it comes down to like pilot and what you do with them.
but again, there is that rock paper scissors. You know, you can have what is on paper not the best army, but you come up against something, and your army has every answer to what they bring, because you know your army isn't meta. They haven't got the tools to deal with what you've got.
Exactly that. So I think we could be quite safe on this. I'm quite happy with our little tier review. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the comments on it. Obviously, these could be if you're looking at a new army for the next 6 months. I think
or three.
I don't think the only army I wouldn't be leaning into right now is a Victrix build, because there is a lot of rumors that Victrix are about to be nerfed again. Good, because they shouldn't be better than an Adeptus Custodian, and they are.
I mean, they don't have an invul, to be fair, but yeah, I know what you mean. Hitting on 2s, 2-up save, 4 wounds, plus all the rules they get is and like even their guns just seem like
there's a reason why people out there have been like gone and speed bought this army, and I don't understand necessarily why. Marines will just pivot to something else that's good. But to be fair, if Marines get nerfed, they probably drop, and then the other armies in A probably start pushing into S. So we'll see what happens.
But if you're building a list now, build it to deal with Marines,
that's correct.
Blood Angels, and Sisters is what we're basically saying. That's what you should be. If you're a good enough player that you're likely to get towards the top tables,
that's what I'd expect you to be seeing up there.
That's what you're likely to see. So that's what you need to build into.
Nottingham will be telling. Nottingham's in what, 2 weeks or this next weekend or?
Not the weekend coming, the weekend after, and I'm going to be taking a bit of a different list than normal. Just a bit of a. I took it to an RTT.
I'm assuming we're going to get a tournament report from that one, Alan.
I mean, that depends how well I do. But I took it to an RTT and did well. But of course, RTTs are RTTs. It's a little local thing, so
let's just see where it ends up.
It may not do so well in Nottingham, but it's not very meta.
Okay.
So I'm kind of taking it to sort of see what a kind of anti-meta list can do at a super major. So we'll see how it does. But yeah, I think I don't think it'll do well into Blood Angels as it happens, but it might do okay into.
I don't think a lot of armies are going to do that great into Blood Angels if they go against the people that are playing Blood Angels that are currently picking up Blood Angels.
Well, I've got a Blood Angel army. I can pick it up and play it. I can take it to Nottingham. I've got an almost meta list I could take, but
Stick with Dark Angels, mate. Be
um,
that
yeah,
guy.
the thing is, my ambition is to be a Dark Angel specialist and come high in the Dark Angels ranks. So that's why I'm not doing it.
Yes.
But I'm taking a slightly different route. I'm not taking to take down Blood Angels. I'm just taking to do well generally. And I think when you go to a tournament, you need to think, am I going to hit the top tables? And if so, am I going to be able to go to the shadow round?
Yes.
Now, I don't think at this stage I'm at that point. So, at a super major, I'm looking more at 3-2-4-1. So I'm looking more at what can do reasonably well into the broader field of things, and what can I get results with that people won't necessarily expect. Something slightly different. So that's where I'm going. So watch this space.
We will watch this space, and I wish you all the best at the Nottingham GT. We'll obviously talk way before that, but if you've watched this video, I hope you've enjoyed it. You'll no doubt see some more videos from myself and Alan in the next 2 weeks, like we said at the beginning, and watch that space. Thank you for watching it. Happy New Year from us at Black Crow Gaming. Thank you for your support, your love, and take care and enjoy yourselves.
Bye.
Bye, guys.